In 1985, the head of the largest crime family in the country was killed right outside this New York City steakhouse. We're Kristin and Will, and we're on a mission to try the best food in New York. We have been trying all the steakhouses in the city, and today we're at Sparks to find out if this former mobster hangout is one of the best steakhouses in New York. Sparks opened in 1966, but became a household name after the murder of Paul Castellano right in front of the restaurant in 1985. Castellano was the head of the Gambino crime family, which at the time was the largest crime organization in the country. He and the family were regulars at Sparks and were meeting at the restaurant to discuss business when he was killed. Unsurprisingly, this isn't mentioned on the website's history page, but the press they got afterwards made it one of the most popular restaurants in the city.
Most restaurants in the city depend on write-ups, recommendations, and reviews to attract customers. So in a world impressed by mob hits, Sparks is now #1.
It is absolutely stunning in here. I love the dark woods, the touches of red, and I don't know if you could tell in the camera, the chandeliers have these red light bulbs in them, which really make this orangey red glow that's very beautiful. The room is very ornate, and it's like a simple space, but decorated beautifully. I love the paintings all over the place with these gold ornate frames. The windows are also stunning. It's like this opaque glass with this beautiful design on it, and that design also carries through to the tablecloths and the napkins. These plates are also stunning. Also wanted to mention that the tables are spread out really nicely, and there are these dividers in between a lot of them, which I feel like add this nice privacy element. A lot of other New York City restaurants and steakhouses, I feel like they really try to cram tables close to each other, and it just feels like really cramped and kind of uncomfortable. But here, there is so much space. I really like how much space they allocate for each table, and like I said, those dividers in between.
Let me tell you a bit about the menu. It's actually one of the smallest I've seen at a steak. Well, it's literally one of the largest I've ever seen. But in terms of options, it's one of the smallest I've ever seen at a steakhouse. They only offer 2 different cuts of steak, the prime sirloin, which is their New York strip, and a filet mignon. So you can't get a ribeye or a porterhouse. They actually have different variations of the strip and the filet. We've heard the steak fromage is really good, which is the filet with Roquefort cheese. So we're gonna be trying that, as well as the prime sirloin steak, which I heard is the steak to get while you're here. They're also known for their lobster tails and their extensive wine list, but we're not exactly sommeliers, so let us know in the comments what you think.
If you're a wine lover, you're gonna be in heaven here because the menu is 4 pages, and 3 of those pages are all wine. And the font is a lot smaller than the food on the front page. There are a lot of options. We just got some bread and butter. They're rolls with sesame seeds on top. I'm gonna cut one in half, see how it is. They seem a little bit on the harder side. The butter is not warm, but it spreads very nicely. Let's give it a try. It has this really nice sesame flavor. I think this is the first time we've been served sesame bread at a steakhouse, and I'm really enjoying it. The outside is nice and crunchy. The inside's soft. It is a little bit more on the chewy side, but like I said, love the flavor. These steaks look delicious. I'm gonna start with the main event, the prime sirloin, which is their New York strip. I'm gonna cut it right down the middle. We ordered it medium rare. Let's check out the color. Maybe a little under medium rare, but the plate is nice and hot, so I'm sure it will cook as it sits, but let's try it. Oh, wow.
That O was unlike any sound you've ever made in a video before.
I think that this is the most tender New York strip I have ever had. I love the nice char on the outside. It adds this nice flavor. I feel like the flavor in the meat itself is kind of lacking, but that char on the outside adds all the flavor that it needs. I was just so caught off guard with how tender it was. I just feel like a lot of times with New York strip especially, I'm like chewing on it a little more, there's a little more fat. This one I have to say is pretty lean. But I do appreciate that nice char. It seems like it's on the top and the bottom of the steak. And maybe there will be some other like more fatty parts with a little bit more flavor on the ends. I just took a piece right in the middle, so we'll see as I keep eating it. Okay, now let's try it with their homemade steak sauce. Our waiter said it was a bordelaise. Interesting. It kind of reminds me of like a marsala sauce. Definitely prefer the steak on its own, but very glad I tried it. Also, still can't get over this char. The crunch on the outside of the steak is phenomenal.
Let's give it a try. There is such a nice crust on both sides of the steak. The crust and the seasoning is amazing. I also agree, I don't think it's the most flavorful steak I've ever had. And I think that that's because they're not dry aged. On their website, it said that all their steaks were aged, but it didn't specify if they were dry aged. So I have a feeling they're probably wet aged, which explains why they're so tender, but not that flavorful. But they are seasoned and cooked perfectly, so they're still excellent.
I cannot wait to try the steak fromage. It's a filet with Roquefort cheese on it. It's a French blue cheese. This filet is nothing like I've ever seen before. The color seems like a little bit more medium to me than medium rare, but it is drenched in this cheese, so it's kind of hard to tell. That is so tender. Again, the meat doesn't seem that flavorful, but that cheese is unbelievable. It complements the steak so nicely. This one also doesn't seem as charred as the New York strip, but the cheese is definitely the main event. It is delicious. It's like got this bite to it, which I really like. And I definitely feel like it adds the flavor that the steak needs.
It is drenched in this cheese, so I am excited to try it. It's a strong blue cheese flavor, so if you don't like blue cheese, you probably won't like this. Luckily, I think both of us love blue cheese. I do think that the prime sirloin was cooked and seasoned a little better. I had a little bit more of a crust and a little bit more salt and seasoning. And I would say both these are pretty big portions for one person.
Now let's try these hash brown potatoes. They look nice and crunchy. Wow, those are so flavorful and so nice and crunchy. But then the inside of the potato adds this nice softness. These are really good.
Just stabbing into them, you can hear them crunching. They're so nice and crispy. They are cooked perfectly. They're so crispy, but they're also so fluffy on the inside. They're perfectly salted. They have this little extra flavor in there that I can't put my finger on, but just makes them a little bit more elevated. They're really good.
So we usually don't talk about the dessert menu, but this thing is also huge. And I find it funny that again, the first page is all the different desserts, and then the next 3 pages are dessert drinks. I have never seen a bigger dessert drink menu. There are so many great options here. One thing I really love is the fresh sorbet in its own natural fruit skin. They have lemon, mango, pineapple, orange, and peach. I think we're gonna stick to some of their more traditional cakes and pies. There are so many options that seem amazing. We really don't know what to go with, so we're gonna see what our waiter recommends. So we decided on the chocolate mousse cake. It looks delicious, so nice and chocolatey. They even have chocolate shavings on top and a cookie crumble crust. It also comes with their homemade whipped cream and a strawberry, and they even split it for us. Anyway, let's try this chocolate mousse cake. It doesn't really taste homemade. It kind of tastes a little bit more like maybe mass produced. Like there's something about it that just doesn't taste fresh to me. Maybe I'll try the edge with the cookie crumble just to see if it's any different. That's a little better, but I don't know. It's not super chocolatey. It's okay. For some reason, not my favorite, but curious to see what you think.
The cake has a bit of an interesting flavor. It tastes like nutmeg maybe, or amaretto or something. I don't know, I can't put my finger on it. It's definitely not bad. It's not my favorite dessert we've ever had, but that's definitely not gonna stop us from finishing it. Well, honestly, there was nothing all that memorable about Sparks. That's not to say that anything was inherently bad. We had great service, all the food was really good, but there was just nothing all that notable about it. Some of the steakhouses we go to have, amazing prices like St. Anselm's, or incredible ambiance like Hawksmoor, or really, really good steaks like Wolfgang's or Keen's. And I just didn't feel like Sparks had any of those things, except for maybe the fact that Paul Castellano was murdered right outside. And I also don't really understand a steakhouse that only serves strip and filet. I feel like they're really kind of doing themselves a disservice with that. But we would love to hear what you guys have thought of Sparks. Let us know in those comments down below. If there's any other places you'd like us to check out, make sure to subscribe if you like the video, and we'll see you guys in the next one.